Welcome. This is my friend Alex Reinmüller. Alex is going to help me host our program, which focuses on family. Alex, what do we have to look forward to?
Thank you, Garrett. I'm delighted to be here with you. For nearly a decade, children have enjoyed our animated series, Become Jehovah's Friend. How have they and their parents benefited? As teens, Tainara and Alex developed a strong identity as servants of Jehovah. We'll learn how this helped them resist temptations. Are you married or contemplating marriage? You'll enjoy a new series we're introducing in our program. It's designed to help Christian couples achieve a happy marriage.
I'm eager to get started. This is JW Broadcasting for April 2022. Today, we will talk about those who are close to all of our hearts, our children. I'm sure that you, dear parents, greatly love and appreciate your children. What a privilege it is to have them. Think about it. There are millions of angels. However, angels were not given the privilege to produce children. When Jesus was on earth, he was not married, so he did not have the privilege of having children. But you parents have that privilege. What a treasure! What does the governing body want to tell you children? That we love you. We are so happy to have you with us, and we would like to help you to become and remain worshippers of Jehovah. You are like a beautiful gift, a special gift from Jehovah. Christian parents value and appreciate you children more than $1 million. How do we know? Because Psalm 127, verse 3 says that children are an inheritance from Jehovah. What does that mean? An inheritance is a very valuable gift that has been given to someone. Often the gift is from an older family relative. Jehovah views you children as a very valuable gift that he has given to your parents. He expects parents to take good care of this gift. He entrusts parents with the welfare and happiness of their children. And when parents do their best for you, it especially makes us happy when you children do your best to please and serve Jehovah. There are so many children earthwide who are fine examples for others by means of their love for Jehovah and the truth. Parents, will your children become good examples for other young ones in the truth? One father of 7 children, all of whom grew up as lovers of Jehovah, would always tell new parents that there are no guarantees with children. They each have their own personality and are exposed to various outside influences. But he would always urge new parents to do the best they can to teach their children and reach their hearts. Your conscientious effort increases the possibility of them becoming a success in Jehovah's service. So, parents, how are you caring for your inheritance? What are some vital steps to teach and reach the heart of your child? First, please locate Judges 13, verse 8. The parents of Samson likely prayed often for Jehovah's help to properly raise their son. Verse 8 says, Manoah pleaded with Jehovah and said, "Pardon me, Jehovah, please let the man of the true God whom you just sent come again to instruct us about what we should do with the child who will be born." If you parents do the same, Jehovah will answer your prayers through the scriptures, Bible literature, or possibly by means of a congregation meeting. Additionally, being consistent with family worship is vital to reach the heart of one's child. It is true that it takes some planning and absorbs some of your time each week. But remember that in 2008, the governing body gave us all the extra time each week for family worship by adjusting the weekly meeting schedule. A brother from Portugal wrote, "Aside from family worship, my father had a separate Bible study on a different day with each of us 3 children. I'm sure that these studies were very important for us to resist all of the pressures at school. It is no surprise that all 3 children have been in special full-time service for a number of years now." Similarly, a brother from northern Italy wrote, "We studied with each one of our children personally, in harmony with their age and gender. Each family head must decide what is best for his family. However, a well-prepared family worship program is essential." Another excellent way to teach your children is by example. Children often pick up mannerisms from their parents. They often walk and talk like one of the parents. But they also pick up on godly personality traits and attitudes. So be the kind of person that you want your child to be. Even though Jesus was the only perfect child ever born on earth, it appears that his mother, Mary, and adoptive father, Joseph, were good examples for him. Luke 2:41 and 42 tells us that Jesus' parents were accustomed to go from year to year to Jerusalem for the Passover. Joseph could have viewed the trip as inconvenient and even too expensive. But as parents, he and Mary set a good example for the young boy, Jesus. Most young ones can quote 1 Corinthians 15:33 by heart. Maybe it is because their parents have reminded them of the principle so often. Bad associations spoil useful habits. Do you remember in Luke chapter 8 that Jesus spoke about the different kinds of soil that the Word of God might fall on? The soil represents your child's heart. It is our hope and prayer that your child's heart is like good or fine soil. In verse 15, Jesus applied the illustration of the fine soil, saying, "These are the ones who, after hearing the word with a fine and good heart, retain it and bear fruit with endurance." But what can happen if after responding to your training from God's word, your child is somehow exposed to bad association? When young ones spend considerable time with other young ones who have not been trained by Bible principles, it can counteract your training from God's word. Such association is like a severe rainstorm that erodes the fine soil that you have built up. It can quickly wash away the good training that you have given. Psalm 1, verse 1 says that we can be happy if we do not walk with, stand with, or sit with those who do what is bad. And we could add to that, and to not text or email others who do not think wholesome thoughts. Help your children to choose good associates. So many young ones around the world have responded to their parents' fine instruction and expressed themselves from the heart. Let me share a few experiences that demonstrate this. One young person from the United States wrote in saying, "I'm 11 years old and I am an unbaptized publisher. I can't thank you enough for all that you do. I especially appreciate all the time and effort you put into the Caleb and Sophia videos. I love these videos. They help me to show good conduct at school. I'm grateful that you encourage family worship. You see, I used to have doubts about Jehovah. If it were not for the time at family worship, I probably would have drifted more and more. I love Jehovah and want to serve him, but I still have lots to work on. I hope you will make more videos to help me and other young ones to serve Jehovah with our whole heart and whole soul. We received this message. Hi, I'm 10 years old. I just wanted to say thank you. When I grow up, I want to work in Bethel because I love Jehovah and want to make him happy. In paradise, I want to open a zoo without cages. Sending all my love. I recall I once met an 8-year-old girl in Denver, Colorado, who was baptized at 8 years of age. By that time, she had read the entire Bible through twice. Of course, each child is unique. Not all children become mature at the same rate or at the same point in life. You may recall that we read Psalm 127, verse 3 earlier, which said that children are an inheritance from Jehovah. Let's read the next verse, number 4. Like arrows in the hand of a mighty man, so are the sons of one's youth. Children are likened to arrows that should be aimed at a target. An archer cannot recall an arrow once it leaves his bow. Parents have arrows. They have their children to aim at the target for a relatively brief time. And what is the target? What is the goal? For your children to become wholesome, dedicated, and baptized servants of Jehovah. However, arrows can be made from different materials, and they can vary in size. Parents must remember that no two children are precisely alike. Some have a good measure of mental and emotional maturity at a young age and express a desire to get baptized. Others may not be ready for baptism until they are a bit older. Thus, discerning parents do not pressure their children to get baptized. Rather, they assist each child in keeping with his or her own growth and spiritual progress. But it is also true that some parents underestimate their children. Some hold them back from dedicating their life to Jehovah, even though they have developed a close relationship with him as a youngster. We received this comment from a sister in Russia. Thank you very much for taking care of younger ones. I particularly appreciate your support. Your loving words inspire me. I am 17. I'm invigorated by articles and videos which are prepared by you. Your work and love bring me to tears. Thank you very much. I am touched by your affectionate care of us here in Russia. Your warm words and prayers are the best comfort for us. I am grateful to you. Thanks to your taking care of me, I was able to begin pioneering 2 years ago. It's the best life ever. I am happy. I can't be silent. I'm filled with gratitude. The Watchtower once commented, "It has been said that raising children is a 20-year project, but parents never really stop being parents." Among the very best things you can give to your children are love, time, and Bible-based training. Yes, endeavoring to reach their hearts. Admittedly, each child will respond differently to the training. However, many who have been raised by parents that love Jehovah feel like Joanna Mae, a sister in Asia. She says, "Looking back on the training I received from my parents, I am so thankful that they disciplined me and taught me to love Jehovah. They did not just give me life, they gave me a meaningful life." And there are millions of adult Christians who would express similar sentiments of appreciation. Parents, take care of your inheritance, your precious children, by training them and reaching their heart.
Thank you for those encouraging comments, Garrett. I especially appreciated all the comments from the young ones. One in particular expressed appreciation for the Caleb and Sophia videos. We've grown quite attached to these characters, haven't we? In our next segment, Brother Anthony Morris of the governing body discusses how this series has helped children and their parents.
It's hard to believe it's been almost a decade since that first release in 2012. In that time, the Become Jehovah's Friends series has proved to be a real gift from Jehovah. Through these Bible lessons, children can learn to be kind, to be honest, to be respectful, and to develop other godly qualities that help them see and obey the one who is invisible. How can we begin to understand the far-reaching impact this series has had on Christian families? We're going to let Christian parents tell how these videos have helped their children to become Jehovah's friend.
Katie Ann had a really hard time working together with the older brothers and sisters in the congregation.
I had a really hard time because they're kind of slow. But lesson 25, making friends, was just what I needed.
We spent a few weeks discussing the videos during our family worship evening. The videos helped her to be more open-minded, be more respectful to the elderly brothers and sisters, and want to work with them in field service.
Sophia liked chatting with Sister Elsa, even though she's so old. So I can do that too.
These videos strengthened my relationship with Jehovah. I know that he hasn't forgotten me as a single parent. It can be so hard for single parents because they're trying to take on the role of both parents.
I got baptized because I love Jehovah with my whole heart. Jehovah still loves me, even though I'm made from dust and I'm so little.
He took some of the weight off my shoulders.
Laura, our middle child, was perfectly healthy until she turned 4 years old. That's when she was diagnosed with a rare tumor in her central nervous system. Unfortunately, when the treatment was over, Laura passed away.
Even while she was sick, she just loved watching the videos. Her favorite one was Let's Go in Service. This video really made her want to talk about Jehovah.
During the time that she was receiving chemotherapy treatments, which lowered her immunity, we couldn't even leave the house with her. But sometimes we'd bring her to get a checkup or get an exam done. And the doctor would say that everything was fine for now, that her immunity was okay. And the very first thing that she'd say to the doctor was, "So I can go in the ministry, right?" And the doctor would laugh and say, "Sure you can." And our family would take advantage of those times to go in field service together, as a family, all together. That made Laura so happy.
It does us good to remember why the Become Jehovah's Friend series was created. These videos were not designed as mere entertainment to simply pacify children for a short period of time. These lessons were designed to help children build a relationship with Jehovah so they can live and serve Him forever. Jehovah loves children. That love was evident in how His Son, Jesus Christ, treated children. The governing body shares that love as well. Also, Jehovah loves Christian parents. He sees how hard you work to impress a love for God deep in your child's heart. No doubt, you look forward to sharing every new video with your child to help them learn to love and respect Jehovah, Jesus, and God's Word. But more important, how do you think Jehovah feels, knowing that a young child can come to know Him through this animated series and grow up to become His dedicated servant? That is truly special. We will continue to pray that this series reaches the hearts of our young ones and draws them closer to Jehovah, their friend now and forever.
As we heard, Become Jehovah's Friend is much more than an enjoyable animated series. These videos are powerful teaching tools that help young ones develop a personal relationship with Jehovah. Parents, continue to use them wisely as part of your family worship. Of course, at some point in their lives, children must make the truth their own. What steps can they take to establish their identity as a servant of Jehovah? That's the topic of the next episode of My Teen Life.
Me and my mum started attending meetings and studying the Bible when I was 5 years old. When I was 13, I decided to get baptized.
I decided to dedicate my life to Jehovah when I was 14. To me, Jehovah is a wonderful God. He's not just a friend you can count on, but also a father. I don't have a spiritual father here on earth, but I have Jehovah as my father.
It was always something that I had in mind, to let the truth convince me that not to serve Jehovah just because my family does, to serve Jehovah because of the love I feel for Him. Having that clearly in mind is very important and will make all the difference when a problem arises or we have to deal with something in the future.
Some of the truths that convinced me that Jehovah was really my God were mainly basic truths. I believe that they're like the foundation of a house. Without a good base, good foundation, a house will not remain standing. For example, I wanted to understand better from a more scientific standpoint that Jehovah really created all things. So I read a lesson from the brochure Origin of Life. From that, I saw how Jehovah really made everything in a very complex way, and that there was no other explanation. It was doubts like that that moved me to study the Bible more and helped me to build a better friendship with Jehovah and to be more convinced that He was the true God.
I always enjoyed and made a great effort to feed myself in a spiritual sense in the morning. When I was a teenager, I went through some problems that were pretty tough. I felt better in the morning. It was a time of day when my problems didn't seem so big in my mind. It's very important to have spiritual goals, because if we don't have goals, it's like going on a journey with no direction, no destination. But if we've got a purpose before leaving, we know where we're going and how we can get there safely. I always think in terms of setting short-range goals,
medium-range goals, and long-range goals. So some goals that I was able to reach were getting baptised and becoming a regular pioneer. I also had the privilege of serving in construction groups. No matter the choices I had to make, I always thought about how they would affect my goals in the future.
When I was 17, I found out that my mum had cancer. It was a heartbreaking situation. Suddenly my life was turned upside down. Had to learn how to care for our home, how to cook, how to care for someone sick, and how to give emotional support to that person.
The biggest challenge I faced when I was a teenager was when my parents got divorced and then my mum stopped serving Jehovah. At that time in my life, I was 15, 16 years old. At that age, you need a lot of support and guidance from your parents. It was a time when I didn't get that guidance, that support.
My mum was my best friend, and I lost her. She was always so loving. She always helped me. She always read the publications with me. We loved to study the Bible together. We don't know when problems will suddenly come up. So it's important that we take Jehovah's side before the challenges, before problems arise.
A text that really helped me was Romans 8, verse 37 to 39. There it says that neither death, nor life, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else can separate us from Jehovah's love. So that really helped me face those challenges.
Having a strong Christian identity means having values and principles that are the same as Jehovah's. You clearly make up your mind to please Jehovah, even with what's happening all around you.
It's very important to make the choice to serve Jehovah no matter the situation we face. No matter if our family serves Jehovah or not. Because it's when we face challenging situations that we'll see if we can continue to be loyal to Jehovah or not.
No doubt about it, I'm very proud to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah can help us in amazing ways. He's our friend, our father, our comforter, and it's really good to be friends with a God that is so powerful and to have the chance to defend his name.
Establishing your identity as a Christian isn't a single decision or a moment in time. As Tainara and Alex shared, it's a process that leads to wonderful blessings. In many respects, marriage is like that. A wedding is a special day, but marriage is something that wives and husbands need to strengthen every day. To help Christian couples, the governing body has approved the development of a new series. It's called For a Happy Marriage. Each segment features dramatizations of real marital challenges and how Bible principles can help us build healthy, loving relationships. Here's our first episode.
As married couples, most of us have been there. The day-to-day pace of life, work, distractions can cause us to draw away from our mate emotionally. we begin to talk less, distance ourselves, we may feel unappreciated. And even become cold or unkind. Even our desire for intimacy and affection may cool. We may go from loving and passionate to platonic roommates. What can we do to avoid this? An excellent principle we can apply is found at Acts 20:35. There is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. But how can we know what to give? What actions to take so our mate feels our love and affection? The best way to know is simply to ask, what does our mate need? Some feel loved when they are actively listened to, or hear warm expressions of appreciation. For others, it's expressions of love shown through touch or simply quality time. Others find that helping them with chores and sharing the workload at home makes them feel cherished. But whatever the discussion reveals, and regardless of our mate's imperfections, we want to do what we can to make them feel loved and cared for through the actions they appreciate. Yes, if we each do all we can to show unselfish love, genuine affection will follow. And this is just one of many secrets to a happy marriage. So now, why not just take a moment, pause the video, and ask each other these 3 questions. Remember, share your honest feelings, and when listening, don't be defensive. This is simply a chance to openly express how each of you feels. So pause your video now and really talk.
As we see, this series is designed to encourage couples to have open and honest discussions with each other. These videos will be so helpful for husbands and wives, and for those who are thinking about getting married. We are thankful to the governing body for this series, and we look forward to future episodes. Whether we're married or single, have children or not, all of us are part of Jehovah's family. We love each other and help one another, especially during times of distress. In our next segment, we'll see how Jehovah's spiritual family helped Brother Bastian Nyirenda endure years of intense hardship.
In the mid-1960s, when I was pioneering, the political system was changing rapidly in the country, making it difficult for brothers to maintain their neutral stand. Brothers were beaten, their Bibles and literature burned for refusing to buy political party cards. They burned down the brothers' homes and Kingdom Hall in my area. I was stopped because of not having a political party card. They tied my hands and started beating me severely. When they went to have supper, one stayed behind to guard me. He felt very sorry for me and said they will kill you when they return. So he suggested that if I can be able to at least crawl, then he would untie me and allow me to escape. It was dark outside, and I dragged myself along until I reached a brother's home who kindly assisted me. Jehovah made a way out so that I could endure. An official announcement was made that the work of Jehovah's Witnesses was banned. Our meetings were done at night from about 9 p.m. to about 1 a.m. in the morning. That is to avoid detection. We are not able to clap hands when things go well or sing songs, because for that we would be found. But to show appreciation, we just had to rub hands together. At my workplace, it became known that I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses and was arrested. I was taken to Chichiri prison and later transferred to Zomba prison, where they kept condemned criminals. I was kept in a cell next to the execution gallows. I thought I was also going to be executed as well. Jehovah calmed me, and remembering Romans 8:38, I was convinced that even death would not separate me from God's love. When I was released, I was so happy to be with Violet, my wife, and the children. But because it was extremely dangerous to stay in Malawi at that time, we had to go to Mozambique in Mlangeni camp, where we spent 3 years as refugees. We were permitted to have Bibles, songbooks, and other publications. When we look back at what happened at Mlangeni camp, we see that it was Jehovah helping us to prepare for the things ahead. We had to memorize scriptures and also kingdom songs. For the scriptures, for example, in 1974, the year text was taken at Habakkuk 3, verse 17 and 18. And verse 18 says that, "Yet as for me, I will exult in Jehovah. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation." We didn't know how helpful this text would be in the future. Because of civil war in Mozambique, we were forced back to Malawi in 1975. I was arrested and sent to Zareka prison. We had to work from morning to evening without food or rest. Cell blocks were overcrowded, with most of us sleeping on the floor. The scriptures and songs that we had memorized while we were at Mlangeni refugee camp in Mozambique were really very strengthening to us when we were in Zareka prison. And this was the time when that year text that we received in Mozambique helped us. The brother would say Habakkuk, and then the other one would reply 3 verse 17 and 18. And then others had to recite the words of these verses. With that, our faith was strengthened. Spiritual food was smuggled into the country by bicycle couriers who were traveling hundreds of kilometers. The magazines were printed on Bible paper, which is much lighter than the regular paper, so that the couriers could carry double the amount. We also were supplied with mini magazines that could be folded and be put into a pocket. One day, we received a smuggled copy of the yearbook, which used to also contain the daily text. So what we did was that we copied all the day's text on the toilet tissues, and then we sent some of these to our sisters who were on the other prison blocks. All these were wonderful provisions from Jehovah that helped us quite a lot to be kept spiritually strong. In 2002, I was sent back to Zomba prison. But this time, not as a prisoner, but as a district overseer to care for a mini sect assembly. When I entered, my mind quickly went back to 32 years when I was in the same prison next to the execution gallows. True. The words at Isaiah 54, verse 17 came true, which says, "No weapon formed against you will have any success." As a family, Violet and I have endured government persecutions, refugee camps, prisons, beatings, lack of food and shelter, the death of loved ones, and at times thinking we would die ourselves. Yet, we were never beyond the reach of Jehovah's loving hand. Through all of these challenges, we were and continue to be fully convinced that nothing can separate us from God's love.
How faith-strengthening to see how the Brotherhood was a powerful source of encouragement for Brother Nirenda. Of course, persecution continues to affect many of our brothers today. Jehovah's spiritual family steadfastly prays for and helps each one of them endure. Next, we'll enjoy a recent morning worship presented by Brother William Malenfant. He describes the power of parental training.
I think all of us have had very interesting experiences with young ones, and we could go on quite a while speaking about them. But there is a story about a child psychologist who began his practice with 4 theories and no children. Some years later, he found that he had 4 children and no theories. He learned that there was quite a bit to do. It was a lot to do to raise a child. It was far more than just a few theories. And this was a comment that was reported by psychologist Bruce Naramore and published in the Awake of April the 8th, 1981. So theories about child raising come and go. And the best counsel on raising a child, of course, is found in the Bible. We know that because it's been there for thousands of years, and it's consistent. It's consistently successful. There's another interesting point, that there is 4 times as much counsel given to children in the book of Proverbs as given to adults. That might surprise you, but that's what I read, so I believe it. Proverbs 22:6 is a familiar scripture for all of us. Proverbs 22:6. And here it says, "Train a boy in the way he should go. Even when he grows old, he will not depart from it." Is that true? Yes, it's true. Does it mean that in every case, a boy that's well trained by his parents won't depart from it? No, does not mean that. It's giving a general overall view of what will take place if a child is trained properly by his parents. And what it is, this is an interesting brief statement, from the Watchtower of 2008, April 1st. If a child is trained according to the Bible's counsel, the parent or parents are creating the most favorable circumstances to bring about a marvelous result. That marvelous result is a faithful servant of Jehovah God. And we can turn to Proverbs 23:24, where reference is made to that. Proverbs 23:24, and how many parents are so delighted with their children, especially in the case of so many who are serving at Bethel. There at Proverbs 23:24, it says, "The father of a righteous one will surely be joyful. Whoever fathers a wise son will rejoice in him." And it does. It brings great pleasure to parents when that happens. But there's another side to the coin. Despite the most earnest efforts of parents, some children do become unfaithful. Think about Solomon. He wasn't a child, but it's very difficult to understand how that man turned away from Jehovah in his old age, but he did. And then even Jehovah had sons who proved unfaithful. That's what the June 1st, 2007 Watchtower showed clearly, and we're all familiar with it, the angels who turned away from their Father, their Creator. And something to keep in mind for parents particularly who have really tried hard to raise their children properly. We don't want to see them beat themselves, figuratively speaking, on and on for years and years because they feel like they're failures. They should not do that. How do you account if it seems to some parents that no, somehow they failed? Well, then how do you account for children who receive no help whatsoever from their parents, and they love Jehovah and they come into the truth? It's heart condition. So parents would be wise to focus on the future and what they can do, not to look back and beat themselves over problems of the past. And even when children do turn aside from serving Jehovah, parents who have conscientiously trained their children in the way to walk, they can still entertain the hope that those young ones will come back someday. We never give up on our kids. We don't give up on our close friends or siblings who may have walked away from the truth. We always hope that they'll come back. Psalm 19:7 is interesting. Psalm 19:7, speaking of the reminders of Jehovah. There it reads, "The law of Jehovah is perfect, restoring strength." And then it says, "The reminder of Jehovah is trustworthy, making the inexperienced one wise." Well, those who leave the truth, many times it's reminders that come back to them, the way it was at home, the counsel they received from their parents, the loving congregation that they attended. And who comes to mind when you think about the reminders coming to mind after living a life of debauchery? The prodigal son. He was at his lowest. And then who did he remember? His father. His father who undoubtedly had shown kindness and love to him. So we don't want to overlook the power there is in parental training. Even though they may not respond, children may not respond immediately, they do many times later on. And they go through experiences in life sometimes that wakes them up to the facts of life and reality. The truth is there are thousands upon thousands of children of Jehovah's Witnesses who are being raised in the truth and whose way is pure and right. It really is thrilling to see young ones who they're able to think. They don't just parrot what their parents tell them. They're not just memorizing things. They've learned to have thinking ability, and they can speak about the truth. They defend the truth in a very interesting way. In Britain, Tim and Sam, both 11 years old and unbaptized publishers, were engaging in field service with Tim's mother. The boys needed new bags to carry their Bibles and literature, but money was a problem. Earlier, before starting in the field service that day, the mothers of the two publishers made this a subject of prayer. At the last house to be visited that morning, Tim spoke to the householder and read a Bible verse to her. She interrupted him to ask what his religion was. When Tim replied that he was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, the woman scolded him and said to his mother that she could not understand why Jehovah's Witnesses let their children die rather than allow them to accept blood transfusions. Well, that would be a difficult thing to have thrown in your face, a young man there at the door with his mother. Tim's mother suggested that the woman ask the boys how they felt about this. She did. Tim explained that he would always choose alternative treatment rather than go against his Bible-trained conscience. This was from this young boy himself. Sam then said, the other young boy, that his own sister had received alternative treatment and had fared better than patients who had received blood. Then the householder again turned to Tim's mother, and this time she expressed disapproval of taking young children from door to door. We've heard that many times, I'm sure. Both of the boys responded to the woman on this occasion that they enjoyed preaching, adding that they preferred this to roaming the streets like others of their age. Well, this slowed the householder down a bit. She was impressed by their reply, The householder asked the boys to wait a moment while she went into her house. What a surprise they had when she returned and presented each of them with a smart new leather bag, ideal for their ministry. She sold these items for a living. Her changed attitude also allowed the boys to arrange for a return visit. And as they were leaving, the householder's 94-year-old mother, who had been listening, came to the door and asked Tim's mother to visit her at her home. Truly, we are proud of our young ones, and it's a delight when you hear them make comments at the meetings in their own words, and you out in the field ministry with them, and you see them make expressions of faith. We have thousands upon thousands of good children who really are showing that they're mature and they love Jehovah God.
In our program, we have been reminded that each of us belongs to a loving, global family, Jehovah's family. And as our new music video shows, each of us can help others become part of our spiritual family.
In this world, it's hard to find a friend, someone you can turn to, who's with you till the end. I used to dream I'd find a people who could be more than just some friends, and more like family. Jehovah's family. Now I have brothers, I have sisters, mothers, fathers too, little boys and little girls, older brothers who come from every tribe and race and nationality. Knowing we belong to the greatest brotherhood we'll ever see. We love to be part of Jehovah's family. Us in his family, his love will never end. Just to think that we will live eternally, then we'll all be part of Jehovah's family, a part of Jehovah's this family.
What an encouraging video, and an appropriate one for this month's broadcast, which has been all about family. Alex, thank you for being my co-host.
You're welcome, Garrett. In our program, we were reminded that our animated series, Become Jehovah's Friend, is a very effective teaching tool that continues to delight and help children and parents. We learned how teens can develop a strong identity as a servant of Jehovah, and how this helps them stand firm for their convictions. And we introduced an encouraging new series, For a Happy Marriage. And we were reminded of the importance of showing our marriage-made affection. Now it's time for our video postcard, which comes to us from Zambia. Situated in South-Central Africa, Zambia is a land of vast open spaces, abundant wildlife, and spectacular waterways. It takes its name from the Zambezi River, which flows into Victoria Falls. Particularly at flood stage, Victoria Falls is considered the largest sheet of falling water on Earth, with up to 144 million gallons, or 545 million liters, plunging over the falls every minute. In the past, Jehovah's Witnesses in Zambia faced strong opposition fueled by nationalism. During the 1960s, thousands of children of Jehovah's Witnesses were expelled from school for refusing to salute the flag. Door-to-door preaching was banned. But with Jehovah's help, the brothers persevered, and many have embraced the truth. Today, Zambia is home to more than 225,000 Jehovah's Witnesses. To serve publishers in areas with poor network service, the circuit overseer pre-records his talks, transfers the files onto a flash drive, and delivers the files to the elders, who then distribute the talks. Let's visit the Lusaka Rockfield congregation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the brothers showed great zeal in the ministry. The congregation grew to the point that a new congregation was formed to support the territory. Attendance at meetings and assemblies during the pandemic was strong. Young ones in the congregation helped translate kingdom songs. Our brothers and sisters in the Lusaka Rockfield congregation in Zambia send you their love and greetings.
And we send our love to all of you as well. From the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is JW Broadcasting.